All right, everybody, welcome back in. It's another week, another Thursday. That means it's another episode of that SEC football Powers Hour. So prime time. That's you talking about him already, man. We will get there. The NFL is trying to take over tonight. There is no college football games on the TV for us to watch, but we're just going to hold them off a little bit. I know you might want to go watch the NFL game. We're going to hold that off just a little bit, but we're going to whet your appetite. We are going to put our markers down for who we think is going to win this week in the SEC. I'm Randy. This is that SEC Powers Hour. That's my brother Show.
What's up, y'all? How you doing?
This is the most interactive SEC Dogs live stream on the internet, on YouTube. So if you want to have a good time and you want to hang out and talk a little ball, that's what we're here for. And last week was week 1, and there was a lot of shakeup. Joe called it. He told us this is going to be a little bit of a weird kind of year.
Told
you. We'll come around. We'll settle up all those receipts here in a little while. But I mean, after that first weekend, after that wild weekend, there was a lot for us to ponder. I mean, some of those games kind of surprised me. Some of them didn't. What was your biggest takeaway, or what were some of your biggest takeaways from week 1, Joe?
Oh, man. Well, some of my biggest takeaways were just how bad Florida got rolled. I was like, wow, you guys got trucked for real. Mm-hmm. I expected you to get beat, but not like that. And, some of the others, I guess, really, well, since we're talking SEC, let's just talk about the fact that the SEC kind of got beat down pretty well. You got LSU who lost to Florida State. You're welcome for that one. You got Florida that got rolled. And let's see here. Who was the other one? I forget who the other one was.
Oh, LSU. Good Lord.
Yeah, LSU. They got hammered. So
yeah.
That was kind of my biggest, didn't expect to see all of that. But in one of the cases I did. That was pretty exciting to me. And the other thing that of course, gave me a little heartburn was just how bad Arkansas put a whooping on Western Carolina. But that's just a me thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those games. So, do you think that's going to be a harbinger for how the rest of the year is going to go for the SEC, or do you think those were bad matchups in week 1? I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Why was the SEC so bad? I mean, I have my opinions. Why do you think it went down the way it went down? Do you think the SEC's overrated?
No. What I think is that you saw some good work in the transfer portal, and I think that you saw just some players that were some teams that were able to get off to an early start. And you're looking at the SEC competition who's probably not so focused on those out of conference games as much as they are going to be trying to prepare for the SEC itself. That's what I think.
I mean, well, listen, I looked at Florida. I tried to tell anybody that would listen that Florida was a bit of a dumpster fire. Like, they're a mess. And
yeah, they are.
Mullen, his last year or two at Florida, he recruited 1 defensive back and 2 offensive linemen. And everybody else was skill positions. And the cupboard was literally bare, when Billy got in there. Now, I'm not going to make a judgment on Billy right now. That's not what this is. I just know that Florida's a mess. And I know.
Oh, yeah. To use my partner Rob's phrase, it's a dumpster fire. Just a dumpster fire. That's all it is.
And there are a lot of people in the Gator Nation who are we're going to fire him after this year. If you do that, then you just remove all doubt that you're a disaster program. Because the way that was when he took over, you got to give that guy just a minute. I mean, they're doing okay on the recruiting trail. They're doing, the stuff they need to do to try to put some structure back in place. Listen, I, again, despise the Gators. I want them to be awful. But from an SEC point of view, when you go on the road and you lose to, albeit the 2-time, back-to-back defending Pac-12 champions, that Utah team is built at least from a 30,000-foot view like an SEC team, right? They're built from the inside out, the lines of scrimmage. They play physical brand of football. But still, man, that was just a mess for Florida. And as far as South Carolina, we called it. I actually thought South Carolina would show a little better than they did. But that offensive line and
Yeah.
defensive line are just atrocious, man. They're going to be better, you would hope, as they play throughout the season, but man alive, that was a rough start. And as far as LSU's concerned, I mean, you could say, well, it was a competitive game for a half, but I just don't. I mean, like every football game, that game was determined by who converted on third down, who didn't, right? Who turned the ball over, who didn't. Those sorts of things. But in the second half, physically, that's what shocked me, is that Florida State was taking it to LSU, and I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah, they kind of just ran roughshod over those guys, and that was something that I was kind of surprised to see, actually. I mean, because I knew that Florida State would come in and be good, you know. And we were talking before the show started here. You got people like DJ Lundy there who's playing at FSU, and that's a guy that through our high school coverage we got to know right down the road from us here in Ocilla, Georgia, and Irwin County. I mean, that boy's a ball player. When you got folks like that they've been able to recruit, you know, Norvell's done a good job of getting people in there, and they were much more ready to go and had more staying power than I really thought I would see out of Florida State. So,
well, one of the quotes that went viral in the post-game press conference, Brian Kelly sat up there and said, "I don't know who our guys thought they were. I don't know who they thought they were, the back-to-back defending champion Georgia Bulldogs, but they're not, you know." And so I'm sure a little bit of that was motivation for his team, but also just truth telling, you know, like they just heard too many people tell them they were going to be pretty good, maybe, and that had something to do with it. But there was more to it than that. There were scheme issues. You're like, what are we, you know? So I'm not sure. I'm glad I picked Alabama at this point to win the West, is what I'm saying.
Well, you know, Alabama had some good quarterback play, but before we get away from quotes for the weekend, you know, one bad one out of South Carolina there was, you know, the look of the chain gang and the hot dog. You know, it's like, come on, man. Why are you trying to bring that into the conversation? That was a bad one-liner that went over like a fart in a diving helmet, really.
Yep,
just went nowhere.
Yep, a lead balloon. That was not a good pick right there. He could have just own up and say you got whipped, buddy. That works out better. So we, again, listen, speaking of teams I don't like, Georgia Tech, when I last paid attention on Friday, I thought that game was over and Tech was going to win. I saw the score on Sunday. I had stuff going on this weekend, y'all. But when I saw that they lost, I was like, oh my, how did that even happen? How did Georgia Tech blow that game? So that one shocked me. I didn't see that coming. And then, of course, you were all over the Buffaloes, Dion, and out there in Colorado. So kudos to you. Prime time. You were all over it, man. You had that one. And then you were also on the Dukies. You pegged Duke to go out there and hand it to Dabo.
Yeah. And the Dukies did. Now, I was a little worried there in the first half. I ain't going to lie to you. I'm like, my boys giving the ball away, can't do nothing but kick a field goal. Like, y'all hurt my feelings here. But they got it right in the second half and came out, and that's what I expected to see out of the quarterback there at Duke. And, you know, they were able to get the job done. So, Dabo,
Man, I am not even gonna lie to you and pretend like I watched a lot of Duke last year. I think I might have watched one game, but I watched this game the other night. It was actually the game I got to watch the most of over the weekend, and I came away just tremendously impressed with their quarterback. That dude is a heck of a player. And when I lined up athlete to athlete, I couldn't have. You could have switched uniforms. I wouldn't have known the difference. They've got some players over at Duke.
Yeah, they were able to maintain they won the game at the line of scrimmage, you know, on offense and defense. And, you know, that Duke defense is something that why would you talk about them, right? But they're not a bad defense. Yeah, they're not a bad defensive unit over there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, listen, y'all, I'm glad if you're here, I appreciate you being with us, watching with us. We're going to be here every week. We're going to be talking SEC ball. And the thing, I was thinking about it since our last show, and I think we can make the statement that this is going to be, we want to make this the most interactive SEC show on YouTube. So if you're watching, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you are, jump in here, drop it in the comments, say hello. If you have questions, just fire them off because this is free form. We'll take them as we see them. And the show will go wherever you help us take it. So, but we are off and running. And when I spin it ahead and we start to look at this week, Joe, we do not lack for interesting games to discuss. But I think we kind of just sped over the fact there that Colorado and Deion Sanders had a big weekend. Now, I never thought that I was going to be giving time on an SEC show to the Colorado Buffaloes. But let's take, I don't know, 30 seconds. Let's just talk about them because you did pick them. Well, I mean, why did you make the pick? Did you think it was a 1 week thing, or do you think, especially after now that you've seen them, do you think they're going to be a problem out there in the in their division in the Pac-12?
Well, I think obviously people will be able to see them now and kind of scheme to what they do well. And Shador, though, I mean, he's just such a good athlete. He came out, Dion set it up in his post game presser talking about, oh, you mean that quarterback from Jacksonville State, that
State.
guy, Jackson State. I'm sorry, yeah, prime time, but that guy from Jackson State who's down there. You mean that kid that played the Power 5 game and threw 510? He tried to play it up like that. But Shador is a great athlete all the way around. He was a 4-star recruit coming out, and I think that the one thing that I enjoy about Dion really shined on this past Saturday, and that was he is able to take that confidence that he has, and he was able to breathe it into those players that he brought onto that team. And, he said at the presser, he's like, everybody said, what are we doing? What are you talking about? We coming? Yeah, well, we coming. And then when they got in the locker room before the game, he was able to tell them, we're going to go show them. And they believed it, and they did. There was no quit in that team, no quit at all, and there won't be any quit in that team. Now they may be outmatched and out-schemed in some of these games going ahead as they get more tape on what Primetime's going to be doing down there with Colorado. But all in all, I think they're going to be a really good team this year, and they're going to be a winning record team this year. And I was happy to see them do as well as they did right out of the gate because that gave them a lot of confidence. And I forget the kid's name, that number 3, that freshman running back they had back there.
Yeah, I don't recall it either, but I know who you're talking about. Yep.
Caught that little swing pass, man. That first guy missed him on an angle there on the sideline, but that little stop and go he did to that second guy, that wasn't fair. I mean, if I had knees that weren't already surgically repaired, they'd have been torn up. I'd have been like, oh, he broke me down. But, I mean, he made that boy look ugly. He went
we cannot talk about Colorado without mentioning Travis Hunter, who's from Georgia. Top-rated recruit a couple of years back, wound up going with Dion. That dude, what was it, like 130 snaps in 110-degree weather, playing both ways and having a big old impact. Listen, I don't care who you are. The reason I started a damn beast, like at this point, the original nuggets of it are like 10 years old. And when I started a damn beast, I wanted to put a focus, a spotlight on players that rock the game. And I don't care who you are. You do what Travis Hunter did this past weekend, and I'm just going to straight give it to you, man. That's a damn beast right there. That was a beastly effort. And I got no qualms about saying so. Good football players are good football players. It doesn't matter if they play for my team or whomever. So, kudos to him. That was a wonderful performance.
You show me anybody else around the country on Saturday that played like that kid played both ways. Yep. Show me anybody else. I don't think you can call another name. I don't think anybody could. Please do if you want to try.
But it wasn't just that he was on the field. Like, he was having impact plays on both sides of the ball, which is, you cannot do more than that. I mean, obviously, as a Georgia fan, there are names that pop to mind. Champ Bailey's the first, who jumps to mind as somebody who had that kind of impact. But even Champ, he wasn't playing 130 plays a game.
Well, let me say this, though, before we skip on off of Colorado. Two things I want to mention. One, you heard me say it a while ago, transfer portal. Deion Sanders played it like a champ.
Yeah.
Thing number two, that man knows about athletes and what it takes. That it factor, that intangible thing that it makes you be a great player. Somebody tell me he doesn't know how to find it, because he does, and all those kids showed it. So kudos to him for that.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. I'm looking in the chat here. I see Tim's here. Thanks, Tim, for a great supporter of the channel. I appreciate you being here, friend. And again, if you have any questions or anything, just drop them in here. Let us know. But with that, we can put week 1 in the rear view mirror.
Hey, who won week 1? Who won?
We'll get to that, Mr. Receipts. Golly, he's out here writing tickets in the first 10 minutes. Goodness gracious. We'll get there. We will get there. Hold your water just a minute. Before we do that, I think maybe, I don't know, we can probably go ahead and get into these games, because what I've done is not only do we have the entire SEC slate, and thankfully this week we've got some games that are going to have everybody's attention on the SEC slate. But I've also got us a handful of games here outside the conference. Again, if they're nationally relevant or interesting to me, we're going to pick them. So we've got the SEC games, and then we've also got the out-of-conference games here that we're going to get to. But we will start with the SEC. So let's go ahead and get that up here and take a look at what's going on in the SEC this week. Because I'll tell you what, man, this is one of those things where when you're looking at the games that are on the slate, I may have to reset this, or I may have the wrong window open. I think I have the wrong window open. Let's do this. Yeah, I have the wrong window open. My bad. Here we go. Here's the SEC. I was looking at the national slate. So here we go. Here's the SEC right here. So we're going to kick it off early, like really early, like 11 a.m. on Saturday. Vanderbilt is on the road. They're going to be taking on those Demon Deacons. Now, I got to tell you, man, this is one of those games that Vandy, it took them a minute last week with Alabama A&M, to get it sorted before they figured out they were going to win that game. This is a game when I looked at the season, I thought Vandy might have a chance against Wake because Wake's, quarterback situation and so on. So they are on the road. It's an early start. I don't know, man. What do you think? I'll give you my pick. You go first.
Vandy wins on the road. Vandy figured it out into the game last week. The second half of the game, they figured it out. They're going to go on the road. They're going to beat up on Wake Forest. Wake Forest doesn't have a QB anymore, and that's going to cause trouble.
All right. Well, I can get behind it. I was leaning that way. Vanderbilt, imagine that. Vanderbilt has a real chance to get to 3-0 here, to get to a 3-0 start. I think that's the kind of thing that as an SEC, as a league, Vandy, go ahead. You're halfway to bowl eligibility at that point. So get them while you can get them. I'm going to be like, I'm going to take Vandy too. So I'm going to go with Vandy against Wake Forest. That's one of those games that I tell you, man, it could be. They say Wake is a 10-point favorite in that game. Now, I picked the game straight up, but they've got Wake as a 10-point favorite. I'm still going to go with Vandy.
And you go to Wake Forest and play football, and it's like you're playing in a library anyway. So you put that on top of the fact that it's 11 a.m.
Yeah.
And Wake Forest just ain't going to have it. They ain't going to have it. Vandy's going to come in with the mo.
Not a lot of juice there, huh?
Not a lot of juice there.
All right. We'll see. We got somebody in the chat here telling us Wake's going to get it done. Well, it very well could be. I'm just going to ride this. I'm going to ride the brand. That's what they say right here. I'm going to go with SEC. So let's go ahead and get this other one out of the way. Ball State back in the SEC this week, except this time they're taking on my Georgia Bulldogs. And here's the thing: for the last time, I'm sure it won't be the last time. I don't even know why I said that. But of course, this was the game where Georgia was supposed to be playing on the road against Oklahoma. That didn't happen, so they got Ball State here because they were available. So I expect Georgia to roll on out there. They got them at home. Be sharp. Take care of your business. Get in and out of there without some injuries. And with all that said, Ball State was up on Kentucky 7-3 in the second quarter last weekend. So this is not, just an awful football team. But with that said, I just think that Georgia may have straightened out a couple of kinks between last week and right now. And I think that's the kind of thing where that we can count on the Dogs to get that done.
I don't know what that ad is they're wanting me to do. It's Chick-fil-A ad they're playing for me. Yeah. But, Ball State wasn't bad last week. They had Kentucky. Hey, all I want to say is I was talking to some other friends of mine that are Georgia, faithful as I was in my rehab work up at the old Fairview Fitness. And some people were telling me they weren't really impressed with the quarterback play out of Georgia. Said he didn't have that command, didn't have the command in the huddle. Said, you got to come in and show me the command. No. Said he didn't have it.
I am not concerned. If you want to know exactly how I feel about how last week went, let me just direct you gently back over to my YouTube page. Check out this week's edition of How About That Dawgscast, where I lay it out for you, how I feel about it and why I feel that way. a pretty interesting concept that we discussed this week on the podcast. So you want to know more about that, go check that out if you're a hardcore Dawgs.
Got to have command in the huddle. That's all I'm
saying. I think he's fine. I think he's going to be fine. I'm not concerned. Okay, so you're on Georgia? Yes. He's on Georgia too. Okay. So Kentucky's keeping it in-house this week. They're just going to take on Eastern Kentucky. Kentucky and Eastern Kentucky. Who you got, Joe?
Well, of course I'm going to take Kentucky.
Yeah, well, I would assume so.
I'm going to take Kentucky.
I would assume so. All right, it's the Fighting Stoops. I'm going to go with that. Well, I'm going to go with that too. The Fighting Stoops are going to get it done. And let's see. That's going to move us on to what I think is one of the most interesting games of the week right here. We've got Ole Miss on the road taking on Tulane. Ole Miss taking on Tulane. Now, this game, think back. Now, in case you just weren't paying attention, this is the same Tulane that upset the USC Trojans in the Cotton Bowl last year, had a great season last year, and now they're welcoming in the Ole Miss Rebels, who hung 7-3, I think it was, on them Mercer Bears last week. Who you got, Joe?
Man. Hurt my feelings, by the way, beating up on my Mercer Bears like that, though. They just up the road.
Yeah, well, Well, our friend Tim was in the chat last week, and he was telling us he was on Mercer. Sorry, Tim, that didn't go down the way we thought it would, friend. Stick around. We might have more opportunities to give away some stickers later this year, but that one didn't go that way.
I thought it was going to go better than that too, Tim. I really did. But you know what? I'm going to go with Ole Miss on this one because I just think that it's too early in the season for everybody not to be infatuated and wrapped up with the, have the googly eyes over Ole Miss and the blue pants wearing the head coach they got over there. It's just crazy. So I think they're going to be all, in love, infatuation with Ole Miss for a little while longer. They beat Tulane.
All right, so they get Tulane. Now, this is a top 25 matchup. Both teams are ranked. Tulane, again, a program, they've got their ducks in a row over there. They're playing good football. At the end of the day, I, too, am going to go with Ole Miss. I'm going to give Ole Miss the win here on the road, a good win for the conference. So there we go. As far as I'm concerned, we've got Vandy on the road out of conference. We've got Ole Miss on the road out of conference. I'm going with both of them. So I am all over the brand.
There you go.
And that's where we are. Nothing changes. Look what we got next. Texas A&M and Miami. Now, Miami got the win last week over Miami of Ohio. Texas A&M, we talked a lot about Texas A&M last week. Petrino, Fisher, how are they going to come out of the gate? I think we both kind of got that one right. We thought it was going to work, and they showed up and were sharp. They used those weapons that they have over there, put those wide receivers in space, let them do their thing. Texas A&M looked sharp, Joe.
Nothing changes this week either. Texas A&M is going to roll right through Miami. Not going to be an issue there.
All right. So you're not back. You're not back. You're not ready for that yet. Not against this squad.
No.
Not against this squad.
They're kind of like Florida. Ain't nothing happening in Florida except FSU.
Oh, FSU. My gosh. I don't need to hear all that on this broadcast. Yeah, all right. So Texas A&M, I'm giving you a hard time, but I agree. I told you, I think that's going to work for Texas A&M. I know they've got some talent. I believe they have better depth than what Miami has at this point, even down there in the Miami Heat. I believe Texas A&M goes on the road and gets it done. So this could be redemption week in the SEC as far as the brand is concerned. Yeah. So moving it right along, Kent State, whom the Georgia Bulldogs played last year, is going to visit Pit Boss Sam Pittman and the Arkansas Razorbacks. Now, here's something I want to point out. I knew this when it happened because, again, Deion was the talk of the entire offseason. And when he put together his staff, one of the names that got my attention was the head coach at Kent State joined Deion's staff as their offensive coordinator. Obviously, Kent State, I saw them up close and personal last year when they took on my Dawgs. And, the Dawgs, that game was never in doubt, but Kent State made some plays. They hung around. And I walked out of that going, okay, that's a pretty good head coach right there. He's, an up-and-comer. Sure enough, now he's the OC out at Colorado. So they don't have the same head coach. But Kent State's on the road at Arkansas. Arkansas got the win last week. Rocket didn't run for too many yards. He did have a touchdown. KJ Jefferson looked good. It looks like Arkansas might have a defense this year. This was pretty easy for me. I'm going to take Arkansas.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I'm one that likes to bet on a limb here, Randy, and I'm going to give Kent State some respect here, but not today.
No,
I mean,
okay.
I'm going to give them some respect somewhere down the road, but not today.
Okay.
Arkansas.
Okay. And I got some people chiming in here in the chat. Again, thanks, guys. And if you've got something to say in the chat, let us know. We'll get to you as quick as we can. Justin jumps in here, and he wants us to know that he's got Texas A&M winning by 17 on the road.
17.
Yeah, he's not even going to be close. He's going to lay it down, according to Justin. Justin, thanks for chiming in, man. That's a good one. Again, Texas A&M, they look good. They look sharp. Again, it's the first week. The whole thing about competition and yada, yada. But they look good. So I'm going to give them that. We're going to go with that for now. So we're both on Arkansas. Woo pig. We're both on the Razorbacks. Okay. So Austin Peay is at Tennessee. There's not even a line on this game. Not that we pick them by the line. We pick them straight up. But clearly I expect Tennessee to get the W here. With Tennessee, I'm going to be interested in pretty much what I was interested in with Georgia last week. So you clearly have your opponent, sort of outflanked in this game. So it's one of those things where, how do you go about your business? Are you crisp? Do you run the mechanization of the operation, smoothly? No bad snaps. Special teams look good. You're not getting delays of games, things like that. That's what I'm going to watch for Tennessee, but I expect them to get the easy W.
Yeah, they get the win. The only thing that I'm curious about, for some reason, it's stuck in my head in this particular game. Let's make sure and see if Tennessee comes out of this healthy. For some reason, it's stuck in my head. I have that itch, that feeling. So I just, I think they get the W, no trouble. Let's just see if they come out unscathed.
Yeah, Tennessee, they played Virginia last week, and even though that's a very good school, but Virginia's having a hard time on the football field right now, and I don't know that, I understand they're not in the same classification. I just don't know that Virginia is that much better than Austin Peay, if you want to know the truth about it. So I'm looking, Tennessee did some things along the lines of scrimmage last week. The defense looked better. The run game looked better. But again, I'm just sort of holding my breath on that one. I'm just sort of hitting pause because Austin Peay's not going to give us our answers. But I'm still not sold that Tennessee's done all they need to do to shake up the SEC this year. But again, they should handle business. I just want to see how sharp they can be about taking care of their stuff. So that's Austin Peay and Tennessee. Now, here's the game that everybody wants to watch and know about. So we can sit on this one for a minute and talk about it. Anything that comes to your mind. But we got Texas, who are forever back, right? Every year, Texas is back. And they're rolling into Tuscaloosa at night to take on the number 3 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. So now I am on the record and have been for a while about how I think this game is going to go. So maybe you know where I'm going to go. But we can talk about it a little bit and lay it out. But after what we saw last week with Jalen Milroe, and again, it's Middle Tennessee State, but Jalen, whom I said was going to play and be the guy, he went out there and handled his business and looked good. Like I said, they sort of tweaked the offense to fit him. They're going to use what he's good at. He made some good throws. So Alabama is rounding into form to be that SEC West champion that I predicted them to be. So let's talk about Alabama for a minute, and then we can touch on Texas if you like to, Joe. What do you think, man?
Well, first, let me tell you that I did not watch or get to see 1 minute of the Alabama football game Saturday. So all I saw was the highlight of your boy picking up the bad snap and taking it to the house, right? That's really all I saw from the Alabama football game. But as much as this should be Tuscaloosa at night, at home, taking on a team like Texas that, like you said, is forever back.
Yeah.
This is not going to be the game where Alabama steps out and steps away. I don't see that at all. I see what I believe is going to happen here is, and I'd love to hear what Tim has to say, what the point spread may be here in this game. But Alabama's going to get the W, I think. But it's going to be a tougher game than it should be for Alabama at home at night on a Saturday. it is going to be a much closer game than it should be. Alabama will get the dub, but Texas is going to they're going to overinflate their value early on here. They're going to play a good game, and Alabama is going to not ratchet up, but kind of plateau on what they did last week, and it's going to be tighter than it should be. So,
well,
if you're a bet, what's the line on this game? I can't see that right there.
Let's look here.
If I were a betting man.
Does it even have one in here? I'm not even sure. Alabama is a 7-point favorite with the over and under at 54.
Oh yeah. So I would probably take Tennessee in the points if I were a betting man, and I am.
You mean Texas?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I meant Texas.
Yeah.
Texas in the points. Yeah.
Okay, but
and that over under, I'd go under.
Yeah. Oh, we are. Well, we're picking them straight up now. We're not doing.
Yeah, I know.
Here. Yeah, we're just picking them straight up. But Texas.
That's from my betting for Tim and crew.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I mean, I've talked about this game all spring pretty much because it was one of the early marquee games that you could point to, and I have picked. I've said for months I think Alabama's going to win this game, and largely I said that because even before we knew who the quarterback was, because I believed in the superstructure of what Alabama is, right? Yeah. You know they've got good players on defense, offense. The lines of scrimmage are going to be solid. They're going to be well coached, all that sort of stuff. And I just assumed they would mold the offense to suit what their skill set was, right? Give them the best chance to win. That's what good coaches do. That's what Nick Saban's going to do. So I just felt like on the whole, all of Alabama was going to be more than all of Texas could muster. And I still stand by that. I think Alabama wins this game. But you said it's going to be closer than it should be. What I would say to that is Texas is going to be fine. Texas is going to get up for this game. They're going to show up. Sark is going to make good. He's going to have them ready to go. If they don't come out and they're not sharp, I will be surprised because Sarkisian can game plan with the best of them. They've got a good quarterback. They've got good talent at skill positions. I really do think Texas is going to give them a run for their money. So I wouldn't say closer than it should be. I think it's probably going to be close just straight up because Texas is a talented team. But at the end of the day, I think Alabama, all that Alabama is and has been, is going to be the reason that they win this game. Like it's just, there's just too much of all that makes Alabama what Alabama is. And Texas won't be able to overcome that on the road. The thing about Texas, when they get back into division play, and of course this is their last year in the Big 12, the thing that bothers me about them is I know they're going to get up for Alabama. Are they going to get up for like Iowa State or, TCU?
Missouri.
Whoever out there later down the road. Like, are they going to be consistent every week and put themselves in position to win that conference, right? But I don't doubt that they're going to be up and ready to go for Alabama. I still think Alabama gets the job done. That's where I'm at on that one.
Well, in my remarks about as close as it should be, or I'm really talking about what you said in the beginning. We were joking about it and the fact that, Texas is forever, coming back there. Oh, Texas this year, Yeah. And then they normally get just pimp slapped by somebody like in Alabama or somebody that really just rolls over them and kind of puts them back in their place. And I don't think that you will see anything like that. Sark will have that team up and ready to play. And if I were a betting man, like I said, we're picking them straight up here. But if I were a betting man, and I am, I would not hesitate to put some money on Texas and take 7.
Well, Justin's chiming in here, and he's letting us know he just thinks Alabama needs to get that wide receiver piece in order. And if they do that, then they really will be tough to handle. And he's kind of with you, Joe. He's saying that, Bama, he thinks the line's about right. It's about a touchdown game. He thinks that's probably how it's going to go. But Texas will be ready. I think that's a safe assumption. Again, Texas, they're no stranger to the big stage. I mean, they get the game every year against Oklahoma, much like the Georgia-Florida game, where everybody's paying attention even if you don't really follow the teams. So that's one of those things where they're used to the big games, and they're going to give them a good shot. But ultimately, I think Alabama makes enough plays to win that game. So SEC, again, I know this is an SEC show. I'm not trying to be an SEC homer necessarily, but I do like these games so far this week, the conference versus the out of conference. So I'm, of course, Texas will be in here next year, and then we get to see them all, pretty regular. So, and I know all of our Texas and Oklahoma people are looking forward to that. At least the ones I talk to, they are ready to get in here and see what it's all about. All right, so let's keep it moving. Middle Tennessee stays in the conference. Last week they had Alabama. This week they're on the road out at Middle Earth in Como, Columbia, Missouri, taking on those Tigers. Joe, who you got?
Man, you know how much faith I have in Missouri.
None. Zero.
About as much water as I have left in this bottle. Yeah. So this is a hard one for me, believe it or not. I'm like, Middle Tennessee could get the win. But is it a night game or day game? What is it?
Middle Tennessee? Oh, that's a night game.
Night game. Okay, Missouri wins.
7 o'clock. You got Missouri?
Yeah, Missouri win. If it was a daytime game, I might go the other way. But at night, I'm going to give it to Mizzou.
Alice chimes in here just kicking back on that Alabama game. She's like, I think it's funny that they're getting payback by putting the Texas band in the upper deck like Texas did to Bama's band last year. She's like, they're going to be feuding before they even get here. They're fighting about stuff already. That's
and
petty.
Folks throwing drumsticks down at folks. And
that's good stuff, though, man. That's how it should be. I'm like, whatever. You get up there. I don't want to hear that noise or whatever. I don't know. I know the Eyes of Texas. What is it? Eyes of Texas? Is that the fight song out there? I'm not sure. If anybody knows, let me know. Drop it in the chat. I can't remember. It can't be as annoying as Rocky Top or something like that. So, but either way, I'd put it in the upper deck too. Again, if you're in the chat, drop us a comment, drop us a thumbs up, if you will. Let us know if you're having a good time, because we are. And we're just going to keep on rolling through these games. So Joe's got Eli Drinkwitz Tigers out there 7 o'clock in Como. I'm with him. I really do think, y'all, that Missouri's going to end up in that 4 slot this year in the East.
Really?
And I do. I think they're going to be right there. I think I'm still Georgia, then flip a coin on Tennessee, Kentucky, and then I've got Missouri right there, because South Carolina's shown us they don't have the juice. Florida doesn't have the juice. Vandy doesn't have the juice. So I'm feeling really good about Missouri right there at 4 right now. So we'll see.
Counting doors out, man.
If they mess around, Missouri could mess around. They could get somebody. They could pick off a Kentucky. They might find their way into 3 right there. That would be something else, I think. That's Missouri, man. Golly. I can't believe I'm saying that. But I'm on Missouri, too, for the record. They're going to beat Middle Tennessee. The Blue Raiders are going to beat Middle Tennessee this week. All right. Grambling rolls in to take on LSU at night on the Bayou, Death Valley. So, see, now, if you're an LSU person, you want to get juiced up, lathered up, ready to rock, at night at Death Valley is supposed to be one of the most intimidating places to play in the country. And I'm not taking anything away from Grambling, but this is not exactly a marquee matchup, right? So if you're an LSU fan, are you like, it's a night game, I want to be fired up, but I can't? I don't know. What do you think? You know the LSU people.
Hey, I call Chris Blair and ask him one thing to tell you for sure is it's still going to serve liquor and beer, and you are at LSU, so it's going to be loud and rowdy. Ain't no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So Grambling is, a much HBCU
legendary program.
What's the word I'm looking for here? Yes, thank you. Not thinking legendary program to be had and to be seen. And they played, this past week at some obscure time on a day that was not Saturday. I don't think they played Saturday. Or if they did, I'm confused and was watching a replay or something. But they deserve more respect than they get, but they're still not going to get the W Saturday night in Tiger Town. It's not going to happen.
The thing about what happened with Florida State last week in LSU and that national faceplant that they had, that's not a good look, man, for them or for the conference. And that's just not something. Usually in those primetime games, you get the SEC in a primetime matchup and they show up and show out. And that's not what happened with LSU last week. So that doesn't mean that LSU is a bad team. They're going to figure out some stuff. And that's what these games are for, right? They're going to get back down there, get some home cooking working, try to sort some stuff out, and, see
they have regressed.
There. Yeah.
They have regressed, but they are not a bad team.
The way they were using, like, Harold Perkins Jr. and stuff last week didn't work out, and seems like there was some friction there between maybe on the coaching staff, like, Brian Kelly's wanting to do what's best for the team, and maybe Perkins' best role as an individual, or I'm sorry, as best for the team would be to out there on the edge, getting after the passer, causing havoc. But if you're trying to make him a more well-rounded player and develop him as a linebacker, you put him in the middle, and he was, I don't want to say invisible, but he did not have the kind of game that we're used to seeing him have on the big stage. So they've got some stuff to straighten out. They got to figure out who exactly they're going to be. But LSU, they're not done, but they're going to get the win this week, and they're going to figure out some of that stuff, I think. Speaking of having to figure some stuff out, McNeese rolls into the swamp. And, listen, Florida's going to win this game, okay? So I'm just going to get that out of the way. No drama. Florida's going to win the game. They're going to try to get their ducks in a row. Well, the damn Gators. I've already said they're going to watch them go out and lose now to McNeese State just to spite me. But I'm on the Gators. Don't have a lot to say. Not going to watch this game. Don't know many people that will. But just saying. Gators win.
Just move along.
All right. Or you're on the Gators too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's spend some time talking about a game here that's actually pretty doggone exciting that I bet people didn't even, not even on your radar, right? Just not even on the radar. But Arizona, the Wildcats are coming into Starkville to take on Mississippi State and those Bulldogs. It's going to see the sheriff, Will Rogers. Now, this game is exciting, people. Like in this window, I know everybody's going to be watching like Bama and Texas. I got that. Put this game on the jump. Because here's the thing: these two quarterbacks. Let me look here. What is the over under? Okay, Mississippi State's a 9-point favorite. The over under is 60.5, 60.5. I'm telling you, I'm probably taking over. These two dudes are electric playmakers at the quarterback position. This is going to be a racetrack game. They're going to be up and down the field. I think it could be 38-35, 42-38. Something like that. This could be a lot of fun to watch. If you're just watching football, this would be the game our dad would watch. He wanted to see somebody scoring, right? This would be the game he would watch. He'd be like, man, Alabama, they're not scoring. He's going to watch this game. So I'm just telling you, if you just want to watch some offensive football, this one could be a lot of fun. Out-of-conference game, a little marquee matchup name there with Arizona. It's a big, big-time school. I know. But big-time conference, big-time name, big-time brand. Rolling into Starkville, I think I'm going to go, because of the home field and the travel, the distance, I'm going to go with Mississippi State.
Well, I'm sitting here just looking at that, and I still hadn't made my mind. Typically, I have my mind made up pretty well before we get on the show and get into these games, but this is not one where I have my mind made up, quite frankly. And because I have a one-game lead, and we'll talk about that later on.
Oh, you can't wait to get there.
I'm going to take Arizona. Arizona. Yeah.
All right. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to my boy Will Rogers and his socks.
Oh, I like Will Rogers. I do. But
yeah.
It just seems like this is the place where something's going to get screwy, so I'm going to take Arizona.
Okay. Well, good. We got it split right there. We got somebody, like I say, somebody's got to win this thing. So there you go. We're going different directions here. I'm on Mississippi State. Show is on Arizona. All right, so now we're getting back into our neck of the woods here. The Furman Paladins are going to be in Columbia taking on the South Carolina Gamecocks. And, talk about needing to get right. The Gamecocks need to get right here. But when you listen to Beamer talk this week leading up to this game, it's like he's already trying to temper expectations from the Gamecock fan base. He's like, I think we're going to win. He didn't say this, of course, but it sounded like he was saying, I think we're going to win, but it's not going to be some blowout. I think it's going to be a closer game. Furman played Clemson tough. Furman played, all this kind of stuff. He's trying to sort of set the table and temper expectations. I can't see how Furman beats South Carolina. But man,
I don't know, man.
9 sacks given up last week to what is a pretty good North Carolina team. Okay. I might hate myself for it. I am going to go with Carolina at home to beat the Paladins.
I'm going with Furman. I absolutely am going with Furman. Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt in my head. It's going to be 90 degrees on a Saturday afternoon in Carolina.
Oh, man.
Furman's going to come in there jacked up. Carolina's going to come in there like they've got 2 black eyes and a broke nose because that's what they got.
Oh.
And Furman's going to beat them.
All right. There we go. Separate ways. The Paladins. Joe's on the Paladins, the purple and white. Okay. I'm on those Gamecocks. So now a little late night action, Pac-12 after dark with a hint of Southern sweet tea. Auburn is traveling out to Berkeley to take on the California Bears. I know I mentioned travel, all that kind of stuff before as far as Arizona coming east. Auburn's going west. Even with that, Freeze was another team. They looked good, in their first outing under Freeze. So California is going, they're going to be a little bit better this year than they were last year. Auburn's almost a touchdown favorite. I think I'm good with that. I'm going to go with Auburn here, even though they're making that trip. Auburn gets the win over California.
Ugh. It's so bad.
Well, for those of us who are just hardcore college football people, this is fantastic. I've got a game to watch till like 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah. This is. I'm gonna have to go Auburn too, I think, but I don't want to. I just think I got to, but I'm just like, ah.
Oh. So you're going with the SEC.
I'll take Auburn, but I feel like I need to go take a shower.
All right. Well, we all know how this household feels about Auburn. It is not. We don't care for Auburn. So there's that. I need to get that sound on the board. That would be good stuff right there. Oh, now see Justin Farmer from the top rope here with this comment. He is living it up right about now. Yeah, he is living it up.
Don't make fun of my Furman pick,
bruh. Oh, bruh. Yeah, he is living it up right there. Furman is elite. 5-star talent all over the place. Well, I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to say that. But we see you, Justin. Thanks for being a part of the show, man. That's good stuff right there. Rick Sanchez, he's letting us know not to worry. Auburn by a million. By a million.
Oh. No. The $1 million man's already gone. They already paid them fines. He's already gone. I think he's done in the NFL too. $1 million man's gone.
Oh my goodness. All right. So I closed that other window earlier, so I don't have a nice little I don't know, maybe y'all can bear with me here. I can get us back to it. But we were going to take a look at a few games here that are outside of the SEC. So what we're going to do is I'm going to dial up the other scoreboard here so we can get a good look at what we're talking about. I'm going to try to anyway, if it's going to let me. And we'll see what's up. Here we go. Got the other games up here so we can get a look at these. So there's a few outside the conference here I want to talk about that got my attention this week. And one of them, because doggone it, it's kind of in the footprint, but it also just annoys me. I can't get away from them. Let's pick the Notre Dame game. Notre Dame and NC State. That's a little interesting. So let's take a look at that one. Joe, the Golden Domers coming down to take on the Wolfpack. Who you got?
Oh man, you know how much I hate Notre Dame.
Right.
It is, it is Notre Dame and it's NC State. I'm always going to pick whoever Notre Dame's playing, so I'm going to go with NC State. Always.
See, all right. Well, here's where I'm going to go different. We're going to break it up. I'm going to go with Notre Dame. I'm with you. I know Notre Dame looked really good against Navy. NC State's not Navy, but I do have questions about them at quarterback. So I'm going to go with Notre Dame here. They go on the road and get the victory. That's hopefully going to get me caught up back in our competition here, and we'll see what's shaking there. So I'm on the Golden Domers. I want to take a second here and just mention I see some more people in the chat. Thank y'all for being here. Again, if you have questions, comments, anything, drop them in there. We'll get right to them. That's what this show's about. We're having a good time over here. Jack, I see y'all were talking about the Cal game. They are out in California. So that is an interesting game for sure. All those people talking about how the SEC doesn't travel. They're traveling this week. That's all I can say. We're traveling across the country to play to play an opponent. So that's good on the SEC. But yeah, Sam Hartman, he looked good last week against Navy for sure. And I think there's going to be too much from Notre Dame right there. All right, another one I got on the schedule this week for us to pick is a classic rivalry from the Big 8 way back when, and it's even got a modern tinge because we've got your boy Prime Time
I told you I was coming.
Yeah. The Nebraska Cornhuskers, go Big Red, are on the road taking on the Colorado Buffaloes. Now, I think I saw something online this week on the Twitter sphere where there's some crazy comparison. Like you could get into every home game at some. Oh, this is awful. I should have it at my fingertips. I don't. But it was like $150 could get you into every home game, like a season ticket at some, good level school this year. But the game tickets for Colorado at home this week are something like $400 a piece just to get in there and see. This is like concert time. People are going for the show, not the game. They're just going for the show because it's the cool thing to do right now. So Nebraska and Colorado. Joe, what do you got?
Hey, Dion told you he was coming. It's the home opener. There ain't no way they're fixing to lose to Nebraska. Nebraska. No way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
This is a lock. You got this one on lock.
I told you I was coming. And it's on lock. It's on lock. It's on lock.
Oh, y'all forgive my snorting. Sometimes I get tickled.
It's it, man. Ain't no way Prime is going to be there at the house. Home opener. He's going to be all swagged out. They're going to come out thumping. It's going to be rowdy. And they might come out late egg. But I'm saying there ain't no way.
Ain't no way.
Colorado's going to lose Nebraska.
Maybe he'll even drive that big old truck he got or whatever out on the field with the big old black smokestacks. Oh, that was ridiculous. But whatever. Maybe he'll let him bring that on the field instead of the Buffalo. I think he's afraid of that Buffalo. I think he's afraid of Ralphie.
I'm afraid of Ralphie.
Ralphie's going to be running this week. So Nebraska, Colorado, as much as I want to say Nebraska could get it done, Sims showed us who he was at Georgia Tech, and he's the same dude at Nebraska. Nebraska is better. Nebraska should have beaten Minnesota. They made bad mistakes. They cost themselves the game. They had every opportunity to win it. But even with all that said, I'm with you. Colorado beats Nebraska this weekend in Boulder. All right, now let's get back up here. I mentioned last week, we're originally from Northeast Georgia, right up there where all the Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, all that stuff comes together. So this next game is going to be one that's going to be a little fun for us to pick. So I've got Appalachian State, and it's Appalachian. Not Appalachian. No, Appalachia. Appalachian State on the road taking on North Carolina. That was a thriller last year when North Carolina went up and played at App State. Who you got, Joe?
Man, I think it's going to be a great ball game again this year. I really do. It's going to be a ball game, but UNC is going to get the win. I mean, it's going to be a fun ball game to watch, but you know how I feel about the ACC and UNC and Florida State, and I just think UNC gets the win. But it's going to be a good ball game.
I'm with you. I'm on the Tar Heels. I think App State's going to show up. They'll play well. They'll represent themselves very well. But Mr. May knows what he's doing, and Gene Chizik has maybe resurrected that defense to some level of respectability up at North Carolina. I'm not saying they're going out and getting 9 sacks every week. I mean, that had as much to do with South Carolina as it did with North Carolina. But I do think that North Carolina's better. I think North Carolina gets the win against App State. Now, this one, boy, we are far afield in this one. I got to scroll for a minute to get down to this one. You're like, holy cow. But this next game that we're going to pick here is it's another out-of-conference game, but it's a classic. I say classic generously, but it is a serious rivalry game for the people that are involved. And I am, of course, talking about Iowa and Iowa State. So you got the Hawkeyes and you've got the Cyclones. And this is a trophy game, man. They're playing for, what is it, the Cy-Hawk? I think is what they call it, the Cy-Hawk Trophy. And I'm just scrolling the fool out of this page. Look at me.
You done rolled by it by like 3 times.
I know. Should I go up? Should I go down? I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, either way, Iowa State and Iowa, that's what we're picking. So who you got, Joe, for the Cy-Hawk Trophy? There it is, right there. There it is.
Playing at State.
Yep.
Let's see here. Who do I want to take? My first gut was Iowa State, so I'm going to stick with Iowa State.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not. No, I'm going the other way. I'm going with Iowa in the most boring victory ever. Like then whenever these two games, whenever they get together, I'm like, who's going to bore me more this year? I think Iowa State's going to bore me more this year, and the Hawkeyes and their 1,400 tight ends and their Cade McNamara at quarterback. They're going to go out there, play good defense, maybe have a pulse on offense with their new
4-yard crosser, tight end, 4-yard crosser.
Oh, it's brutal. And Iowa's going to get out of there. They're going to take the Cy-Hawk Trophy back with them. So Iowa gets the win. That's what
Iowa State special teams.
Oh,
Iowa State special teams.
All right. You called it. We hear you. All right, now here we go. Now, see, this next game is a little bit interesting to me because Georgia is going to have to play one of these opponents here coming up soon. And so I'm interested for that reason, but also because we've got a Georgia school in the game. So Georgia Southern is going to host UAB this weekend. And Trent Dilfer is going to take his Blazers down there to the Borough, and they're going to take on them Eagles. Joe, who you got?
Man, I've been trying to tell y'all. We talked about it with AD Jared Binko, and we talked about it with Clay Helton. We had him on the Robin and Joe show. But talked about it early on the first time we are all on air together this year, Randy. And Binko told me something going on with that defense down there at Southern. And they're going to show out. They're going to come away with the dub at home in the Borough against UAB. Trent Dilfer, go home.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm not even going to act like I've done any, know thy enemy yet. Look ahead work on UAB. I just haven't capacity to get that done at this moment. I'm going to trust you, and I'm going to be on those Eagles too, if for no other reason than Georgia. Yeah. Georgia. I'm going to go with Georgia. So I'm going to go with the with Georgia Southern knocking off those I wondered a couple of years ago when UAB came in the game that Beck was supposed to start, but Bennett actually started for the Dogs. In that game, UAB had one of those things on the sideline, those celebration trophies. They had this big skull. Yeah, like dragon skull, necklace looking thing. And I think they might have put some wings on it or something. Yeah. Bro scored a touchdown late in the game. I was like, bruh. And he rolled out there. He grabbed that big old skull and they got all up in the camera. I was like, what is happening right now at UAB? This was not like the turnover chain or the savage. No, I was like, this is weird, y'all. It's
like witchcraft.
I know. Man, I wonder if they still got that or if Trent made them get rid of that. I don't know.
I don't think Trent's got that going on the sideline.
That was crazy. That was crazy stuff.
Good segue, though.
Yeah, well, you know. Yeah.
Now,
professional.
I think you're gonna see. Yeah, I think you're gonna see Southern's defense is gonna do very well. But I say segue talking about that big dragon head chain there. I want you guys to know that Randy and I, we do this for funsies, but we don't do anything without a winner. You got to call a winner somewhere, and that means that you got to get a trophy. Yeah. And if you're in any type of league or any type of coaching profession or anything like that, where you have the ability to get a trophy of some sort and deliver it, I'd love for you to go check out the partnership that we have with Trophy Smack, which you may have seen on such shows as the Shark Tank on television. But Trophy Smack, and you can find it at our radio station website, WRBJradio.com. You can go and see the Trophy Smack link there, but just go to WRBJradio.com. Hey, and you can get a really cool, they can customize just about anything you want.
And let me tell you this right here, too. This is one of those things where it's all about the trophy game, baby. That's what it's about. Yeah. That's what it's about. And Trophy Smack. That's a pretty good name. I like Trophy that name. Smack. Yeah, that's good stuff. I completely lost where I was going with this, but that's okay. Oh, I know what it was. That brings us right over to the fact that we need to settle up on last week. So we've kind of been talking about it, the whole thing, finish it up here at the end of the show, and let everybody know how we did after week one. So before we do that, John jumped in here. It's a great show. Y'all keep up the good work. Go Dogs. Hey, man, thank you. We appreciate that. I hope you come back and see us. We got live streams all over the time over here. We got some, shorts. We got the long form video, the podcast. Come on, John. If you hadn't hit that sub button, do it already. If y'all hadn't hit that like button, please do us a favor. Hit that like button. Let us know what's going on. And we appreciate y'all being here because the show's more fun when y'all are here with us. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
No doubt. So just to settle up, I've got my very official
Looks
counted
official.
sheet. Yeah, well,
Looks
you know,
official.
very, very official. Counted it up right here just before we went on, before we went live. So looking back at last week, looking at week one, your boy here, I went 13-4 in my picks last week.
Yeah.
Man, finished it out rough. I was good inside the conference. We got outside the conference and I was like, ugh, that was not very sweet. And show tallied up 14-3. So after 1 week,
that's right.
After 1 week, the man with the shiny head is sitting over there and he's got a 1-game lead. We're going to mark this throughout the season. Y'all just going to have to deal with us. Y'all going to have to put up with us and it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad, y'all, because if one of us gets the lead, I don't think we will. I think we're going to be close most of the year, but somebody gets out in front. Oh, and again, we're still taking ideas. If you got some idea for what we ought to do for a possible, trophy like the winner should get, drop it in the comments. Let us know. Leave it on the replay, whatever. Let us know because we're kicking around some fun ideas. I think last week somebody suggested maybe we get like a bulldog bobblehead or something, or we could do some kind of bobblehead or something. I'm kicking around. And Joe, talking about Trophy Smack, if you're a member of like a fantasy league or something like that, they can hook you up. And so we were looking at maybe getting like a ring or something, a championship ring that'll go back and forth. I don't know. Y'all let us know if you have any thoughts because we'd love to hear them.
Yeah, they can put together whatever you want, but just let us know because I want to know what I need to wear to, let Randy remember that this was his idea and that I whooped his in year one. So y'all come up. Let us know. It's going to be like a 3-tier trophy. It's going to be like a ring.
See. We should do those old. We should do those old 1980s trophies with the big long poles that they're all like metal reflective,
like shine, reflective,
something like that, and a big brass nameplate on it. That'd be good. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if I got enough room for that. My shelves back there are pretty full. Oh, before
you
we
make
get
room
out of
for
here,
that, Randy.
That's true. I'd probably put it on a chain and wear that around my neck. That's probably what would happen. Before we get out of here, I did want to remind everybody, if you are a fan of the Georgia Bulldogs, and that's what brought you here, I want to let you know, go to my community page and check out, you'll find a link over on the community page where we're talking about the football giveaway that I'm doing. So if you head on over there, you'll see it, and I'll throw it up on the screen here so you can get a good look at it right now. And you'll know what we're talking about. But I'm giving away this University of Georgia commemorative championship football from last season that commemorates the 15-0 year. As you can see there, you've got all the scores from all the games, the perfect season, 15-0. This comes to us from our friends at championshipfootballs.com. We're running the giveaway is going to go right up until Auburn weekend. So there's still plenty of time to get your entry in there if you haven't done so already. So if you head over to my YouTube channel community page, you'll see this link. Just click the link. It'll take you right there, show you everything you need to do. You can get more than one entry if you want to. Just follow the instructions. Once you get there, you'll learn how to do that. But in the meantime, just make sure that you don't miss an opportunity to get your hands on that championship football because it is a beaut. Mine is right back there. That helmet above my thumb, that's the helmet that was in the picture. That the ball is just off screen right over there. So trust me, it's a beaut. And if you want something good for yourself, or maybe you'd give it away to somebody that is a Georgia Bulldog fan, get yourself entered, and we'll have that drawing here coming up soon enough. So, Joe, week 2 is in the books. Do you feel good about it?
I do. I feel so good about it. I'm going to remind people to go to TrophySmack.com again. After you visit WRBJRadio.com, click on the link there for Trophy Smack and decide what kind of crown I shall wear at the end of the season. I feel good about it week 2.
You are just always. What do they say about chickens and hatching and eggs and all that good stuff? Joe's already got his in the frying pan. He's putting like some pepper on them, a little hot sauce.
That's right.
Man alive. It's like you don't know me. That's right. I'm going to be right there, man.
I know. Right I know.
All right.
Just remember that time when I said I was faster than you?
Uh-huh. How'd that work out for you?
That didn't work out too well. For y'all that don't know, in like 30 seconds, because we're already over time now. Yeah. I used to play quarterback, and Randy was a defensive lineman. And I told him, I was like, you can't catch me. Mm-hmm. You can't catch me. Mm-hmm. And then I took off running, and he caught me. And he's my bigger brother, so I'll just let y'all's imagination go wild with what happened to the little brother when the big brother called him and he said, "Hey, you can't catch me."
Listen,
he
man,
let me know he could.
I tried to tell you, if we're running 40, 50 yards, yeah, you probably got me. But I got you in 10 yards. I got you. At 10-yard shuttle, it's over. Quick, baby,
That's right.
quick.
So I know you'll be creeping there, but for week 1, you can't stand it because they can't beat it. Woo!
That's right. That's right. He's all over it. All right, y'all. Thanks for being here with us. Come on back next week. We'll do it again. Until next time, keep it locked on WRBJ.com, WRBJradio.com. Hit up the YouTube channel, Add a Damn Beast. Subscribe, follow, like, all that good stuff. And we'll see you then, okay? Y'all take care.
There you go.